Sports Party on the Nintendo Switch. This is a basically collection of sports, a sports compilation, as to say. It is a Ubisoft title, so a little bit more of a quality sort of package to it because of that. They are a larger publisher, and they've got a pretty good relationship with Nintendo and the Switch console, which is rather surprising. First off, lots of customization options. We're going to show that off and show off a little bit of each of the sports. Generally, I think this is a fairly alright package. If you kind of reminds me of Wii Sports, but they do a little bit more of obscure titles. So male, female, you can change your face. There's all these different kinds of, designs and everything like that. A bunch of clothing options. You can change your clothing colors too. You unlock new kind of gear as you level and you play. If you want hats or glasses or whatever you'd like. Cool. So first off, customization. You level up, you get new customization. You customize each of the slots, do whatever you like. Championship. A couple different championship options. It's basically a mix of kind of games in a championship competitive style. This is a up to 4-player game. You can play with each other locally. There's a couple different options for Joy-Cons as far as playing together and stuff. You can play each game with either traditional controls or motion. Personally, I just play with the buttons because I can't be bothered with the motion. It's kind of like an awkward setup because you have to have like one Joy-Con and you have to like set up the other one on the dock, and then you gotta one-hand it, and it's awkward because then you want to go back and you want to do buttons, you gotta switch, but it's just the setup of it's very weird in this one, very unnatural. That being said, there's usually difficulty options for the game types. Each sport has different game types and modes. Some are competitive, some are against the AI. You can put others in. There's a pretty good variety. It loads up fairly well. I'd say the visuals are decent. They're a little bit rough on the handheld version around the edges and stuff, but even this version, like on the full screen, it's not really anything to be too blown away by, quite honestly. I'm also very annoyed how you have to start with a test shot every time. It kind of drives me crazy. So all the games are very easy to play. You set it up. This is golf, obviously. Golfing, you're golfing. You're swinging, lining up the ball, hitting it with the golf club, driving it. There's a couple different kind of options for how you're swinging. I mean, there's different clubs and everything like that. Pretty easy to get going. We got the iron here, and you can see the map on the right hand side top there. You can see the par, you can see the winds and everything. Again, it's very simplistic. I mean, it's not too difficult to play anything. There are the difficulty options to tweak if you want it to be harder. It's a very good package for a very casual general audience, I think.
Good
There we go,
birdie.
birdie. Nice. Cool, so that's basically a round of golf. We'll show off kind of the next course setup so you can see how it goes. Again, a little bit different this time around. We've got more of like a wavy chord kind of going around here. We're gonna drive it, and then you have to kind of wrap it around. I think the sky looks alright. It seems very static though. It's very plain kind of going. The game itself carries a very cartoon style to it. We're going to switch over because there are so many kind of sports to show off. So next up is beach tennis, 1v1, 2v2. We'll just do 1v1 because it's easier. Easy, medium, hard. I'll do easy so I look like I know what I'm doing and I'm very good at it. Motion is what I most extensively tested on this one. So playing with the buttons is actually going to be different for me. I don't know if really showing off motion makes much of a difference gameplay wise, like being recorded. I'm not sure it's really going to get across the sort of functionality of me actually being here, making the swings with my Joy-Con in my hand, because you're not getting that sense of seeing me doing it. That's what I mean in regards to like capturing it. It's like when I used to do Kinect videos, I'd like capture myself and then overlay it on the video so you kind of see the movements lined up and how it affects stuff. It's cool. It's pretty simple. You serve back and forth, and then you hit the ball. You try to time it, and you can do like harder shots, and you're getting a power bar kind of lined up below where the points are. And and then you're able to do like a mega serve. Seeing the OK. See, it really not too intense, and then you can be too late. And it drops down. You're like, oh, I suck, and yeah, pretty simple and straightforward. And then obviously, if you've got the doubles, it's 2v2, and you can put in like the controller options and everything like that if you want to play with others. Very simple. Again, it's kind of nice. I mean, it's got some fun visuals to it. There's some nice stuff in the background. You're noticing that on all these levels. It's just, I don't know. It's good for what the Switch can do, I guess. I'm not too blown away by it. It's just a good collection of sports titles. You know, we're gonna switch over to the next one. Yeah, we've got basketball, 2v2 or a 3-point. I think 2v2 is probably best to show it off. 3-point, you kind of just go around the court, getting the ball, throwing it into the net. Nothing too difficult. The game itself is very easy to play, and we'll play on easy, so I look like I'm even better at it. Obviously. Then it kind of loads up. Performance is pretty good in the game, generally. I did notice when I was skateboarding, there's a little bit of a performance hitch, mostly on the handheld version. Obviously making comparison between handheld with docked, or undocked, and then docked being on this full screen, which is what I'm recording right now. So yeah, you play a game, there's not a lot of tweaking, it's kind of very straightforward. Movement, easy to play. It's a very simplified sort of street ball setup, you know, if you've heard of NBA playgrounds. It's kind of like a very basic style of that. And you pass, and you shoot. Oh no. Ah, that's pretty cool dunk. Gotta give it to that guy. And you go pass back and forth, and then you go whoop, and then you like tap it once it's at the top of the kind of like arc, and then you just good to go. And it kind of goes in every time. Very rarely misses if you do it correctly. No problem. Sometimes they'll block you. They can jump block and all kinds of stuff like that. Again, easy, so it's, you know, not as complex, but I like to sort of look more impressive, even though I'm not quite doing that right now. Throw that ball way down there. And obviously you can dunk and everything like that. I'm just trying to get more points by sitting at the back here. Obviously. Because you probably know how basketball works. You know, you get more points if you're at the back. You get like a 3 points outside the ring, and then 2 points closer, and, you know, basketball. You get in there and steal this ball a bit. If you're getting the idea of it, I think this one actually has one of the more impressive backdrop setups. A lot of motion going on there. It's actually a very beautiful sort of level here, very clean, very colorful. It just sort of the general package. I don't know, hoping for more. It really is just like, okay, we'll get a bunch of sports going and we'll put them together. Because some of the sports are like pretty random too. I think in general the package has got some like very sort of obscure sports that you would see in this kind of package. So I'm running away with the wrong character here. Throwing instead of passing. Nice. So that's basketball. Obviously you play to more points, but you get what I mean. We've got skateboarding. So skateboarding is one of the race ones. You can either do checkpoints where you're trying to go through gates, or you can do races downhill. We'll just do greenery lane. Again, there's only like a few options here, and I have played you know, more in the championship mode and everything like that. You basically unlock new maps by playing the previous map. And then you're able to keep kicking. Again, this is like the character I've customized, so that's why I always play as them, if that, you know, wasn't clear or anything like that. I think the performance, like I mentioned, is pretty good. But I want to compare that to basically using the controller, and I think performance-wise in controls, it works pretty well, whether you're doing the motion or the traditional buttons. The choice is really up to you, especially with the Switch. You get so many different options, you know. You can pull it out, you can do that, you can plug it in and hold it like a like a handheld and play it that way with the buttons, or you can actually dock it and play with the motion with the buttons. And a bunch of different choices. Yeah, this one also seems to load up a little bit slower. So basically you just kind of go and then you're racing along the track, and it's kind of just a speed thing. So it's sort of very simple. There's like speed bursts and the other players are chasing you. It's very sort of on rails almost. You're just going along your path, kind of moving. Again, it's a very weird sort of like sport to include and not to do something that's what I'd say a little bit more like tricky, so you can do actually like performances like tricks and everything on the skateboard. I don't know, there's probably some kind of fancy boarding term. I know sketchy is when you're doing the tricks and it's kind of like you know. I didn't really care for this at all, this activity, when I was younger. But yeah, it's, I don't know, it's the racing kind of thing of this. I think the ski-doing one, which we'll show in a sec here, is a little bit better, but yeah, that's basically skateboarding. You're just kind of like accelerating, hitting the speed bursts, and competing against AI on a series of difficulties, whatever you want to really compete at. And then that's basically it. Oh, it's gonna be a close one. You can kind of like huddle down too. I just keep tapping because it seems to be effective on this. Whatever. So yeah, come in, you unlock a new race, whatever, speed boost. You do some challenges in the game, you unlock more points, and then you get your reward as you come to the next level. I showed off this whole one just because it's so fast. It just makes sense. Frisbee. So this one's kind of cool. So first off, we got a target mode where you're throwing at targets, and the other one's Frisbee party. So you're basically just aiming and throwing the Frisbee. That's really all there is to it. Like, I guess you might get a bit of a fitness element out of this game if you are doing the motion, depending if you're just sitting there doing the motion or, you know, kind of actually getting into it. But for the most part, I'm just sitting down and playing with the controller. They're just too lazy nowadays. I like to connect because it's full body, but, you know, if people want to use the Switch that way, go right ahead. So yeah, it's very simple. We're going to see dots pop up, and we just tap and throw. And go. Yeah, and that's it. You don't have to like really aim or anything. Well, you do have to aim. You just move the stick side to side. But you don't have to like pick, I don't know what you'd call it, length or distance. There's no sense of that to this. Damn it, I keep hitting the negatives. I'm not really paying attention at all. And then there's like the 3.1s, which are worth more, and you're just competing to see who can tap down and get the points the fastest. It's nothing really too thrilling, to be honest. It's a neat mode, you know, it's pretty fast paced, and it is something a little bit different. I just assume they would take the Frisbees to more extremes and do like Frisbee golf, but then they've already got golf, so it doesn't really make sense to do Frisbee golf, I guess. But you know what I mean, it's just kind of like a very simple sort of thing. And this whole package is just a couple mini games that are thrown together. Not a lot of real depth to any of them. And I think overall as a package it does alright. But as like standalone little games, it's sort of just And we conclude our fun journey with jet skiing. So jet skiing, we get a couple more modes going on. You do some laps and you compete. Again, the difficulties are up and the option to do motion or button. That's really all of the games again. With the choice of flopping your arms around, or actually sitting there lazily tapping buttons. The choice is, of course, yours. Whatever you fancy. Yes, let's race random AI people. They're just so eager to jump in on it. Can't say I'm surprised. Loading. So this one is interesting because it is water-based, but it feels very much like the skateboarding, but just on a flat path as opposed to being something, you know, too wild. I think the water is actually not too bad on this physics-wise. There's also like speed bursts you get by hitting energy things, which we'll show in a sec.
Lap 1.
We're kind of getting along here. Cool. So yeah, we're grabbing the speed bursts, and there's also like the electric sort of grounds that you hit. The tracks are not really dynamic. They're very set, but they're not bad designed. They're just kind of a little bit plain, to be honest. There's not a whole lot going on in them. But I think that's mostly to save the Switch on performance, you know, because you are having that more taxing setup, having to play this game on a handheld option and on a console version. You know, it's demanding, you know, if you want to have a decent performance, and you're losing that a little bit by having this. But I do think the water is actually pretty good in this one. And it's an alright static backdrop. I like my clouds and stuff to be a little bit more dynamic, but what can you do, right? So you do some laps, score some points, try to win. I mean, it's a very typical racing kind of thing. It doesn't really do anything too wild or new. So that's the, you know, the sports party on the Nintendo Switch. I think it's decent for a more casual audience. I think, you know, particularly kids will have a fun time with this. There's a good selection of modes. For me, wow, that was really glitchy. Me, I don't really care too much. It's fine. I don't think I'm really going to pull it out too much. If you're trying to do like a party thing and go somewhere, I think this might be neat for that, you know? Because you want to play on your Switch instead of enjoying the outdoors or whatever activities you're doing outside. You have that option now. Because that's more thrilling, I suppose. But yeah, you know, you get a couple sports. They're all fairly well designed. They offer a little bit of content between them. I would have liked to see more stuff, more like rule option customizations, but you know what? Creating a bunch of sports games, throwing it together, it's not a bad offering. And it does kind of fill that void, I think, a little bit of that niche sports title thing that was so popular on Nintendo platforms a while back. Well, a couple gens back at this point. And yeah, we're just going to finish with a sunny cruise here. A little bit of something for everyone, maybe, you know? And again, the choice is yours. Motion, buttons, whatever you'd like to do, you can do either for everything. It's cool.